Hi, everybody, and welcome to the North American Premodern Championship. This is match four. My name is Jordan Goodwin. I'm here with Andrew Walker.
Hey guys.
We're going to be looking at a match between Jared Doucette playing Corn Pops, or also known as Phyrexian Devourer-Combo, and Mike Hoyt playing The Rock. This should be a pretty reasonable matchup. The Rock has a lot of nice interaction for a combo deck like this, and Corn Pops being a pretty linear strategy is gonna just look to keep jamming the same thing over and over. And uh, I'm gonna be interested to see how this plays out. I haven't had a chance to watch this match myself, so I'm pretty interested to see what happens here. So let's go to the decks and have a look at what each player is bringing.
Sounds good.
So deck one, we're looking at Jared Doucette's list. Looks like a pretty stock list for Devourer-Combo. It keeps pushing the same strategy, makes big mana, and tries to push through one of its two kill conditions in a pretty speedy manner with soul lands and what acceleration it can pump out in the first few turns. It's definitely a deck that can just come out and get you very quickly.
Yeah, it's got like two options to kill you. You can use the Altered Dementia, just make Devour big enough to get you for however many cards in your deck. Usually they go to around 45, 50, just because by the time it goes off, you've had your first 7 that you drew and probably drawn about 7 more by that time, max. And then they try to go off. If that idea fails, the fallback, well, I don't, one of them's a fallback. They're both good, so I don't know. The other option's to fling it, which you definitely don't have to go as far. So it's a less risky option, because if somebody avances you or something while you're in a process with alter, you're going to have a much smaller deck and not going to be able to get stuff off. If you only have to get to 20 and throw it at the opponent, if it gets stopped in some fashion, the Devourer player still has a lot of deck left.
Yeah, if you try to go with a fling route early game, you do have at least the possibility that if you get interrupted, you could load up and have another bite at the apple. Where if you're going for the altar route, it's pretty much a one shot, and if you get stopped in your tracks, that's just probably GG at that point.
Yeah. Want to move on to the Rock?
Yeah, deck two. The Rock is a deck that I like to analyze because there's a lot of variations of it and a lot of small adjustments you can make that it's kind of an interesting deck in the manner that you could change 3 or 4 cards and the deck seems to play on a very different axis all of a sudden.
Definitely.
This looks like a pretty stock Rock list. 4 deeds in the main. That's it seems kind of heavy on deed. I don't know. I always like to run 3, but I guess in this format, 4 is probably pretty reasonable. But it looks like a pretty stock Rock list.
Mm-hmm.
That hand disruption definitely going to come in handy against a Devourer player. I'll be curious to see how this plays out, just because I feel like the Rock has a lot of really good interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rock is not a deck known for its closing speed. To me, it typifies that mid-range deck. And it's never going to be that deck that just comes out and gets you in a real fast draw. It doesn't really have that in its toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what you want against Devourer-Combo. You don't want to give that deck extra turns, extra looks at cards to just figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, the deeds are definitely the best chance of being able to stop it before it goes off, just because of the cost being small enough. Does he have... Yeah, is there ways to get mana fast enough? It looks like there's walls, what else is there? Any other mana dorks you're seeing other than like the walls?
No birds in this build that I see. So I guess the Wall of Roots is really going to be his only acceleration. So
yeah.
It's going to be a very different angle of attack that Rock is used to. I mean, I imagine he's going to look to jam, 1, maybe 2 pieces of hand disruption, and then look for a deed and a threat and just try to ride it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the recurring nightmare, so if he's popping out Deranged Hermit, he's making lots of squirrels. He can sack a squirrel, switch with something like if he's got any kind of draw engine creature, then cast Recurring Nightmare again, switch it back, make more squirrels, so you have an endless supply of squirrels.
Yeah, I think for the matchup against Devourer, I think having access to the birds to get you to that deed mana a little faster would probably be a benefit. But this is still a pretty clean rock list.
Yep. Well, you want to move on to game one?
Yeah, let's have a look at game one.
Sounds good.
All right, so looks like our opponents decided to keep their hands. I didn't see any mulligans. We got Rock on the play, and it looks like he's leading off. Is that a therapy? Yeah, it looks like he's leading off on a therapy.
Yeah.
And did he get a tinker with that? That's a pretty good get. That's a pretty good get because that's going to be that was definitely the play is to accelerate that man in the tinker, and it looks like he had it. So
yeah.
Kudos to the correct call on the therapy. That could have been an over and done game pretty quickly if he made the wrong call on that.
Yeah, especially since he had the Felwar Stone ready to go.
Yeah, then it looks like he's got the fling in hand too. So yeah, that definitely would have been a short game. If the Rock can manage to pull a decent threat here, that's how he's going to win this game. Oh, the Tangle Wire coming down. That's a big play. That's going to buy him a lot of turns at this current board state, which is definitely not what the Rock wants right now.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to power out a deed and have it ready.
Yeah, that's about the best follow up to that early game disruption that he could have had. I feel like the Devourer-Combo definitely has to be the favorite, at least in game one.
Yeah, because you're not necessarily you don't know what he's on. Some of the cards start looking like it's something else. It might look like the Rock even if you are dropping like the right pain lands and you're dropping creatures that are consistent with the Rock deck. You might think that's what it is, and then out of nowhere, why is there a tinker and why is there
right exactly?
Uh-oh. As soon as you see something that's not in the deck that you think it is.
Yeah, game one for Devourer-Combo, it's gonna be the favorite in a lot of matches. It's interesting because even though I've never played against Devourer-Combo, my takeaway from this particular tournament was I'm not going to a tournament without at least 2 curse totems in my board.
Exactly.
And these 2 decks typify exactly why that is.
Yeah, I know with me on green-white all the time, I pretty much guarantee I've got a curse totem if needed or some other good.
So he's flashing back the therapy on a Yavi Elder. What did he call there? The fling? Yeah, he got the fling out of his hand. That's pretty good. And that Yavi Elder is going to ensure he's keeping his mana drops, which is, I guess, what he needs to do. So,
yep.
I guess in the Rock position, you're just going to have to hope to keep making your land drops and be able to survive this Tangle Wire and get that deed on the board.
Yeah, just staring at a deed every turn. It's like.
A deed,
you have to hope that doesn't get to go off because it'll reset his whole clock.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess a deed into a hermit is where his line of attack has to be at this point. And anything short of that's probably just not going to get it done.
Yep.
The worst thing for him right now could be Jared throwing down another Tangle Wire right on the back of this one.
Yeah, that would be a major slowdown. He's got. Is that a gem or a wall that's tapped with 1 on?
Yes. Yeah. He's coming in with the treetop. I mean, putting pressure on Jared, but that's not the kind of pressure he needs to be putting on right now. Because I mean, Jared could be sitting on air in the hand.
Yeah, you never. It's like all it takes is one turn to go from 20 to 0. So
I mean, now he's got 2 treetops online. He could be coming in for, meaningful damage at this point.
yeah,
I guess he could would that make that a 3-turn clock? I mean, that's a respectable clock, but still,
yeah,
that's three looks for a deck like that is tough to accept.
yeah. You definitely don't.
Oh, another therapy. He's coming in hard with the therapies. Oh, he had a Devour and a City in hand, so it wasn't air, but not gas either.
Definitely.
I imagine he's gonna sack. He's gonna. I imagine he's gonna use that wall to. I would imagine he uses the wall to activate one of his treetops and get rid of that Devourer on the flashback. But maybe that's a little too aggressive, and he needs to keep that mana around a little bit longer. But I definitely would. I would not want to let that Devourer hit the board. Then you're just a card away.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you've got, like with the amount of mana that Jared has, it's pretty much drop it, tap it to start prepping its size, and then fling it or exile it with the altar. It's
Right.
such a tight clock.
Oh, he's turning one tree sideways, and yeah, there goes the other tree sideways.
Yeah.
So he's clocking reasonably.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have control over if Jared pulls the win by just top decking whatever he needs. You might as well just go balls to the wall and just try to finish him off in 3 turns. Hoping that like your 12 to 18 damage, depending on how many times you attack with the trees, is that he might have already stung himself with cities or painlands or something. Try to make it easier.
Yeah, he's counting up that mana right now.
Yep.
He's flashing that back on the treetop. I think that's an interesting play. I feel like I would have gone with the wall. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he feels like he needs that mana, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think. And it looks like a concession might be forthcoming. No. Looked like Jared was thinking about it.
Well, he's got a potential 5 online this turn. I guess maybe he makes another factory and comes in for 6, but.
What's he got coming? A Baloth or a Hermit?
Hermit. I don't see the life totals, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to know where they're at. I understand the avenue he's taking. I just have a hard time imagining.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had come in for 6 this turn and 6 next turn with the trees, that's just game. But I guess that drew the concession, so that's game right there, anyways. So regardless of my thoughts of the line got there in the end. But I guess against any combo deck, when you get to play 4 therapies, you're in pretty good shape when you hit with all 4 of them.
Yeah, can't really have.
Yeah, let's have a look at the sideboard options. I think that's a really good idea because I think there's definitely some action on here.
Here we go back to.
So if you're Jared, I guess the 3 rushing rivers feel like an auto board pretty much every match, just to try to cleanly deal with anything, any kind of hate that sits on the board anybody's bringing in. And three rushing rivers for 3 defense grids feels like a pretty even trade. I don't feel like the rock is going to interact with you a ton on your turn.
Mm.
And then I'd be looking to bring in the 3-factor fictions. That's just a solid card for this particular type of matchup where you're just looking to rebuild from getting your hand stripped away, and factor fiction is about the best way in the format to do it. I'm not sure what all you board out for it. It might just be one of those scenarios where you just board out three mana rocks and or maybe board out an altar and 2 mana rocks because you don't want to slow yourself down too much. But
yeah, I would probably keep all the flings. There's no blue coming against him, so he doesn't have to worry about Hydroblast or Blue Blasts and stuff. So the red's probably safe and cheap.
The particular build of the rock that we're on, Pyroclasm, feels pretty weak. And maybe he brings in the welders. The welders, are another good way to fight back through that hand disruption. So, this is a match where Jared could really be easily looking to make 9 spots. And when you play matches like this, it feels awesome to have 9 cards in your board that are justifiable to bring in. But it's sometimes hard. You got to decide how much you want to thin that combo out. So I'll be interested to see what Jared brings in, but I'd definitely be looking to bring in the Fax and the Rushing Rivers and probably the Welders, because I imagine I wouldn't expect the Rock to bring in Smother or leave them in his deck in this matchup. So
yeah, I'm just curious if he would bring in Tormods, because there's some recursion with the recurring nightmares, and
I think that is one angle, but I think probably again, if I'm in the Devourer seat and this match is getting to the point where I'm getting value out of Crypt, I'm probably in a real bad spot.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. So let's go check out the second deck, see what Heup's thinking about.
Yeah, so on Heup's end for the Rock, he's definitely got to be bringing in those 3 naturalizes. He's definitely got to bring in that Null Rod. Definitely got to bring in the Duress.
Yep.
What he's going to cut though? Boy, that's a tough one. Because you don't really want to get rid of any of your hand disruption. You don't want to get rid of your deeds. The Rock is a deck that's already not real heavy on threats. So maybe he's looking to get rid of. He could trim Wall of Blossoms. That's a card that hurts to trim, but I feel like that's the easiest cut in the deck.
Yep.
And so what's he looking to bring in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. He's looking to get in. That gets him 4. Maybe at that point, I'm not expertly proficient with the Rock, but it very well could be that he looks to trim recurring nightmares out of this, just because also if you get the similar line of thinking, if the game gets to the point where he's getting big value out of reoccurring nightmare, it's probably a game he's about to lose anyways, because you don't want to be giving Phyrexian Devourer that many turns.
Yeah, the only way I can imagine that I would think about it is just if you've got once you get to 9 mana, which right there is a bad statement. You can start doing nightmare multiple times, but it's like if you're at 9 mana, somehow the opponent has not gone off yet. So
so he could be looking to just transfer more into a little bit more of a black-green beatdown deck, more or less. Yeah, let's see what Jared does against the Rock this time. You'd have to hope that he doesn't stare down four hit therapies again.
Yep.
All right, so game 2, Jared's going to be on the play, so he's not going to be eating that Cabal therapy before he gets a turn. But let's see what he does. But he's definitely going to be thinking hard about mulliganing for a fast hand on this one.
There's an altar really fast.
No, so Soul Land is a good play. I definitely would have rather seen a Soul Land into a Mana Rock, but Altar's still pretty good. Now he's got that win con on the table, at least out of duress range, which he's in the middle of getting duressed right now. 2 Fax in the hand and a Tinker. That's a tough call. He's obviously got to take the Tinker, but double Fact. You gotta think the Rock player is really hoping to pull a therapy immediately because he's going to be looking to fact very quickly. He's got a treetop there, which probably doesn't feel ideal. Oh, it's just a treetop pass. That's a tough spot to be in. Jared opting to go with the city instead of the. Oh, that's a fling. I thought that was a Shivan. I thought that was a blue red pain land for a second. So I thought that was an interesting line, but now I know that I just didn't clearly see what was in the hand.
It looks like Jared's at 5 mana at this point with the 2 soul lands.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good spot. We could see a win pretty quickly. Yeah, the rock player is just kind of doing some wheel spinning. It doesn't have a ton of gas in his hand. Is that a tangle wire? Oh yeah, that's bad news for the rock player.
Jared's probably low on cards. You pump that out, and in response, before he taps down, he could factor fiction.
Right.
If you're going to be locked down, might as well.
God, I love Tangle Wire in decks where it just costs you almost nothing. It's so good.
I'd be much
Here's a bunch of stuff that I can tap. Right.
The 1 card. So come on.
I'd love to play Tangle Wire. Hate playing against it.
Exactly.
Fellware Stone, and there's the Shivan Reef. So, looks like he's got two facts and a fling. So, I got to imagine next turn he's gonna be facting pretty quickly to try to find the kill.
Yeah, it looks like he can do it. He's got the mana rock. He's got the tomb and.
Oh yeah, he does have.
Yeah.
He's got the soul land untapped, so he can do an EOT and just come up with the win here. God, Factor Fiction's such a solid card. I always love
right now?
playing. Say again?
Can with the Fellwar Stone, can he actually make blue at the moment?
No, it looks like he's got a Shivan Reef in play.
Oh, okay, I didn't see the Shivan.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's definitely. Yep.
Ugh, the rock player is just coming in with treetop after treetop. It's not where he wants to be living. He's got to be just getting a pretty poor series of draws here. But he could. What has he got in his bag of tricks here? Is that a deed? That's a deed, but I've got to imagine that's a turn too late. He can play it. He can only pop it for 1 right now, and yeah, Jared could just fact right now and come up with a win con. You know, a tinker or devour off this, and he's just dead. There's a tinker right there. So
the magic of moving the screen so we can see what's.
Yeah, so I mean, I imagine he's gonna make 1 pile with tinker and 1 pile with the other 4, and Jared's gonna take the tinker and tinker away the tangle wire in that scheme.
Yep, definitely went for the 1 of instead of the other 4.
Yeah, tinker. Tinker is such a powerful card. God.
Yeah, he's got everything now, right? He can tinker it out with the artifact.
Yep. Yeah, tinker away the tangle wire, and he's got 2 different avenues to win. And yeah, the rock player is just sitting there with 1 mana up. Oh, he can. Yeah. He can pop it for 2 because he can use the Wall of Roots during Jared's turn to get that 2nd mana. So that's going to get the altar, and that's going to get the Fellware Stone. But it's still going to leave him able to tinker, and he'll be short fling mana, I guess. So it's gonna put us in a place where we'll see what he draws off of his turn.
Yep.
Because if he comes up with a red or a blue mana, it's still just game.
I mean, he could set up at the end of turn. He could just Fact or Fiction at end of turn and be prepped on his turn to just finish it off.
Yeah.
Paying for Tinker. Yeah. Attacking the stone.
Oh, it looks like he's facting during his turn.
Mm-hmm. And for the viewers, there you go. What does he got?
Oh, it looks like a
tomb, an island,
crystal vein. Are those two more? Are those two more tangle wires?
I think they might be.
Yikes! Yeah. Yikes! I mean, that's not a rock and fast draw, but I mean, I guess maybe you separate. I don't know. I don't even know how you break that fact up. That's brutal. Because no matter what, he's got that blue mana available, which is all he needs to get the kill next turn. And if you give him a tangle wire, you're going to ensure he gets there. Yeah, there's no card in all of Magic that'll just put a player in the tank like Fact or Fiction.
Oh yeah, I know. I always mention to people, like, if you haven't played against Fact before, you to a degree can tell people who are novices against seeing it and someone who's a pro. And even if you're a pro, you've still got a long way to learn.
Yeah, I mean, there's so often you sit there and you're looking at a fact and you're just thinking, if I'm smart enough, I can puzzle my way out of this conundrum. And the answer is you just can't.
Yeah, you can tell when you screwed up when the opponent immediately picks a pile.
When they snap keep a pile, you know you done messed up.
Yeah, if they're sitting there for 15, 20 seconds, it's like, oh, good, I did a good job on that split. But yeah, as soon as they drop it and they almost touch your hand because they're grabbing it so fast, I'm like, I don't like that. Like, oh,
right, when they're treating it like chess and you took your hand off the piece,
your
so
hands
that's
off
your
it.
move.
Yeah, I was like, boom. Like, oh no. Damn, did something wrong.
So at this point, yeah, I guess Dan's gotta hope to draw some hand disruption to get rid of that Tinker or that Flame.
Oh, you mean Mike?
And short of that, I'm sorry, yeah, Mike. If he's got another turn of spinning his wheels kind of action, might as well just clean them up.
Yep.
Ooh, the pass. Brutal. He is definitely not drawn fire this game.
Yeah, this is just like flooding out to a degree.
Yeah. He hasn't missed any land drops.
Yeah. Yeah. And he should be up at, 7 or 8 discard spells, presumably? And I don't think Monet popped up. Which is, a couple, I think. Tapping 4 or 5. He's tapping 5. It's probably Deranged Hermit. Impulse. Definitely digging.
He had the Tinker on the Fling in his hand, didn't he?
I thought he did. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that's what he had in hand.
good thing, at least with the glare and stuff on here. I've definitely learned for next time where my issues are on recording these.
Right. Huh. I'm kind of puzzled now because I was pretty positive he had that fling in the tinker in hand, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, I must be because that would have been the win.
Yeah, it's like, what sideboard or main deck card is he afraid of at the moment? It appears.
Oh, I suppose. I mean, I suppose he could be worried about a naturalize.
Well, I mean, if you play the Devourer, you hold priority through the triggers, so you can trigger
Right,
and then you fling. So it's like none of the naturalize has. You have to
Where-
land
there's
it
a-
just right.
there's the Devourer. Yeah, like can naturalize even interact with that combo in a meaningful fashion?
Jared was windmilled one of those, so he's definitely annoyed that his deck took this long to.
Yeah. Jared, his deck has definitely not popped off like I was expecting to see so far. There's one of those rushing rivers, so now we know he brought that in. And there's the fling. So yeah, he must have had that in his hand and just been worried about some sideboard card. I don't know what it would have been, but he definitely seemed to slow play it there, unless my math was wrong, because it looked like he had the mana to play it all out and get the job done. But got the win anyways, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it only took what 3 tangles and 2.
Yeah, 2 facts. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike didn't have a lot going on with the rock, and didn't appear to draw all that well. So
Yeah, I mean
I
the tangle wires
definitely
were the main thing that kept the treetops at bay,
yeah,
I guess.
such a brutal card, Tangle Wire, especially against a deck like the Rock that's just going to be using its mana to its fullest every single turn.
Yeah, I don't know if I was in that position, would it have been worthwhile? Well, no, you'd try to activate your treetop, but then you still have to tap more stuff. You're not getting any kind of benefit, so yeah, it's just a bad spot. But I guess let's go see if we can spot anything that might change for a sideboard card. He seems like I don't know what he.
Yeah, it looked like the sideboard was pretty on point. We saw Jared make with the Factor Fictions, having 2 of those.
Yep.
Paid big dividends, and when he was turning over for the Devourer, we saw the Goblin Welder and we saw the Rushing Rivers, so he definitely boarded all that stuff in.
Yeah. From this play, it doesn't look like again that Tormods would be worth anything.
Given how slow his deck has performed thus far, I definitely wouldn't be looking to dilute the combo any further than he already has.
Yeah. Then I guess for Mike, if he was going to go back and think of the change, did we even see much?
Yeah, we didn't see a whole lot. Mike's sideboard at the 4 spike feeders is a lot. He must have really been expecting to play a lot of mono red because having even a second null rod's not normally that one-of bullet, especially when you don't have a way to go find it. A second rod would feel pretty strong right now to him, I'm sure.
Yeah, for playing a non-mud deck kind of, that combo is brutal to have the right stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see any I haven't seen anything that would make me think he would make any changes. But then again, we didn't see a whole lot out of him. We saw a therapy and a whole lot of tapping his permanents during his upkeep.
Yep, a whole lot of tapping. Guess let's go back for the finale, game 3.
All right. And here we are for game 3. We're gonna have Mike back on the play. Let's see what he comes with this time. Hopefully it's a little bit hotter, because he's going to need it in order to beat this combo deck. Yeah, it looked like he was on the mull there. I couldn't tell if he put 1 card back. It looked like that was the case. So, Let's see what he's got. Leading on the treetops. Those have been floating right to the top.
Yeah, they have. So we got a chromatic sphere in for Jared.
Yeah. So Jared's leading on an island and an egg, so he's not coming out with a blazing fast start either. I can't quite tell what he played there.
Discard spell? I don't know what.
No, it was something that was 3 mana. Was it a deed? Maybe it was a deed.
Yeah, that just seems like that. It's not a engineered plague. That would be weird. I can't believe that would be there. So yeah, it's got to be a deed.
Yeah, I mean, if he's racing out a deed, that's a strong play.
Yep. It's like pretty much the only chance he's going to blow it up is if Tangle's locking him down at a point where he knows the opponent can go off. Otherwise,
I've got to wonder if he was mulliganing a little bit more aggressively, hoping for some discard spells. You know, with game 1 we saw him just hammer Jared with the discard spells and get the W out of it. And game 2 we didn't see any of that.
Nope.
And you got to think with eight looks at discard spells in his deck and 4 of them have flashback. You got to think he's looking to reasonably aggressively mulligan to get those. We just haven't seen any more of him, which is unfortunate for the Rock player. There's that welder. So now that's definitely going to marginalize a lot of the discard avenues, because you gotta think the Rock player has probably boarded out a lot of his targeted creature removal, taking out the Vendettas, not bringing in Smothers. Two mana for another Wall of Roots. Coming in with the tree.
Yeah, it's like, it worked first game. Just start trying to get that.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when Jared's going to be likely aggressively using Ancient Tomb. Getting into that early damage can have reasonable meaning.
Now he just has to get a Devourer into the graveyard.
Yeah, you got to think Jared must be in a pretty strong position right about now. I would. Was that a Rushing River returning that to his hand? Yeah, that was a Rushing River returning that. Maybe this is where Jared goes off right here. You got to think he'd be holding the Rushing River for a critical moment. Yep, there's the Tinker. It's looking like quick work of the Rock player today. Well, he got to naturalize.
When did he squeeze it?
So he naturalized the altar, and then he used the welder to bring the egg back. Huh. So now I guess at least he's got to look at. That's a. I don't know what Jared has in his hand, but that feels like a curious interaction. I think I'd like to leave that welter untapped because then any artifact can just bring the altar back, or maybe he just has another altar or a fling.
Yeah.
He must just have it in his hand.
He's got a city and another land, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really it.
Sure looks like it.
Yep.
Good magic, just the way Richard Garfield intended it. Well, there we go. Devourer got a 2-1. Yeah, it's kind of, it definitely seemed like an unfortunate series of draws for the Rock player in game 2, and game 3 it didn't seem to go a lot better. Yeah, we couldn't see his hand there, so we weren't sure what he kept. But boy, you would think he'd be aggressively mulliganing. Your ideal hand, I guess, in this matchup for the Rock player is just it's gonna consist of a therapy and a threat to follow it up.
Yeah,
and
like an all rod that would have been that would have been annoying for the Devourer player. So, what do you think of the first time seeing Devourer?
Yeah, I mean it's quite the deck. I don't know. I feel like the decks that I typically like to play, because I'm normally an Enchantress player, so I'm not super scared of Devourer, but there's a lot of decks in the format that Devourer must just get a free win on them. A lot of the Premodern, it seems like a very aggro heavy format, and it was interesting at that tournament, the lack of control in the room. So decks like that and Sutured Ghoul and things like that.
And no
land still. Just a lot of
wave still.
Just a lot of free wins.
Yeah.
Lot of free wins for combo players all day, which is why I played Enchantress. I expected an aggro heavy format. That's exactly what we got.
Yep.